We are only a few days away from a grim anniversary. A year ago, George Floyd died at the hands of Minneapolis police, which sparked renewed conversations about police brutality, systemic racism, and ways the community can come together to simply do better. Civic organizations, communities of faith, and everyday people have been a part of these conversations. But it's a topic that is nothing new for one Golden Valley nonprofit.
It's the same mission that we always have, which is really focused on bringing community together, especially in times of really great trauma and crisis.
Sweet Potato Comfort Pie will lead a week's worth of events to memorialize the anniversary of George Floyd's death. Events will begin Monday, May 24th at a St. Paul bakery, where volunteers will gather to make and deliver at least 46 sweet potato pies to the community. Those at home are also encouraged to make their own pies to donate.
Because of all the tension that's existed with the trial, Minneapolis Foundation and several other organizations just really were encouraging healing spaces. So we applied for a small grant for being a healing space, beginning with that Monday, the baking, and we've got a school that's going to be baking with us.
Throughout the rest of the anniversary week, the Golden Valley nonprofit will host virtual events. To participate, you can find the details on our website, ccxmedia.org. Many of the conversations that we've seen have centered on policies or initiatives surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion. In today's Newsmakers segment, we talked to Medical Alley's Alexis Kohansky about how the medical device industry is sharing their ideas. How would you describe Medical Alley?
Medical Alley is the global epicenter of health innovation and care. So just how folks think of Silicon Valley, you think about Google, Uber, and a lot of that tech innovation. A lot of that innovation in the health space is happening here in Minnesota's Medical Alley. So our association comprises of over 600 member companies that span the entire ecosystem of health innovation and care. So we have payers, providers, medical device companies, contract manufacturing organizations, and also biotechnology, as we think about Takeda Pharmaceuticals, which is right in the backyard of this station. So
absolutely. Now, we've seen workplaces put more emphasis on diverse, equitable, and inclusive initiatives in the past few months. What have you seen?
You know, I've seen a renewed energy around this issue. You know, DE&I is not something that's new to these organizations, but I will say with recent events, you know, the George Floyd killing, a lot of these socioeconomic and disparities around things happening in the community have really re-energized these companies' initiatives around these issues. So we're seeing a lot of smaller companies interested in how to get started. We're seeing larger companies continuing to want to share what they've been doing. And so we launched a website on medicalalley.org that focuses on our member companies' efforts internally in their organizations on DE&I and also externally in the community. So we've been seeing a lot of great stuff. For example, one that's caught my eye is a STEM program with Abbott. They partner with high schools across the metro area, and it really is all about focusing on diverse communities and changing the face of STEM as it relates to women in particular. And the last thing I'll say about them too, which is really exciting, is that they've created a blueprint, and it is scalable for smaller organizations to large ones. So anyone can read that blueprint and apply it. And we've been loving to see other ways that our companies have been doing work on this.
So if other companies are looking to expand their DEI efforts, what are some of the things they should do?
Yeah, well, first I would definitely say come check out medicalalley.org, our DE&I page, which leverages all of the great work that our member companies are doing. I think that there's a lot there to kind of learn from. We've been doing a lot of different podcasts. We have great webinars. So that's a good resource space and content. But in particular, from what I've been hearing, really reevaluating missions and values of your organization and identifying ways that you can embed DE&I in them. I think, the most effective strategies have been folks that aren't trying to put DE&I on a table somewhere that they pull from when it's convenient, but it's really, really, really embedded in the work that they do every day. I would also say listening to your workforce, hearing them, understanding, is your company really inclusive? What could be changed? What can make things better? I think that that's really helpful. And the last thing I'll say is around community engagement. I think that you know, a lot of the issues, especially pertaining to health equity, can be addressed by just connecting with your community and sometimes starting small. And so there's lots of opportunities, but I would definitely encourage everyone to check out medicalalley.org.
Lots of good stuff there. All right, thank you, Alexis.
Thank you.
In the past year, many people who live in our suburbs have taken a closer look at their property records to find racially restrictive language. This language prevented people of color and other ethnic groups from living in certain neighborhoods. Historians say inner ring suburbs came into being right when this practice became commonplace.
Robbinsdale as a suburb was created right at this moment that racial covenants were really coming into become kind of standard.
But in the past year, suburbs like Golden Valley, Robbinsdale, New Hope, Crystal, and Brooklyn Center have passed measures to help homeowners look into their property deeds and help remove some of the racist language if it's there.
Getting it off your title is just an emotional, educational, and moral thing to do, and that's what this is all about.
The suburbs involved in this project, which is called Just Deeds, have corrected more than 100 property deeds so far. And before we go to break, let's take a look at the memorial that's also become an important place for people fighting for racial justice. This is the site in Brooklyn Center where a police officer shot and killed Daunte Wright. The city plans to allow the neighborhood memorial to stay in place for now. But Brooklyn Center city leaders said in this week's meeting that they're thinking about a permanent solution.